But he came on a rainy day and he kind of presented the graduate program with so much passion and fire. And he was one of the first people that I thought, wow, this guy loves what he does. I want to follow that. I don't think you should love the animals more than your own body. You live here as well, right? So, yeah, it's all right to have some junk once in a while, but have balance. So it's a love inner and outer as well. They play the victim mindset, and they say, poor me, and this happened to me, and this, but at the end of the day, we create our own reality.
I'm Farah Shammas. Welcome to Hotel Talk. We hope you enjoy listening to this friendly conversation between people connected by real life in hotels. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Hotel Talk. And today I have with us a very old friend and a very dear friend, George Adamides, who actually used to be in the tourism industry. So we really did meet because of Hotel Talk. And our lives have progressed. And there's a lot of similar paths that have happened. We both turned vegan and we both opened vegan restaurants. Us, the first one in Limassol, and George, the first one in Nicosia. So It's been a really fun journey to watch each other have all of these amazing experiences. So George is the owner and founder, along with his wife, of Elysian plant-based kitchen bar in Nicosia. It briefly opened in Limassol, but they're concentrating now on the Nicosian one. And he's here to tell us a little bit about himself and about tourism and about life and so much more. George,
Thank you for the invitation, Farah. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
And it's a pleasure and honor to be here. You've had some amazing guests, so I'm excited about today.
Yeah, happy to be one of them. So, George, tell us a bit about you. You're like me, mixed backgrounds, growing up different places. So I always find guests like that interesting. So,
absolutely. So I grew up in Australia, from the age of 7 to 19.
Whereabouts in Australia?
In Perth.
Okay.
The western part, the most isolated city in the world. Long haul flight from anywhere.
Oh my
so
goodness.
I didn't travel much as a child, even though my first plane ride I was 7 years old. And that inspired me. I never knew, but it planted a seed to be in the travel industry. I didn't realize it till many years later. And finished school, came back to Cyprus, did the army, and wasn't really sure what to do before that.
Why did you have to do the army, having grown up abroad?
I mean, funnily enough, army in Cyprus, I think it's 13 months now. It was 26 then when I was going to do.
I think it's 12 now.
I think it's 12 now, yeah. And when I came back, I never realized, but I turned 19 the day before I went into the army. So in my mind, I had to do 13 months. In the end, I did 6 because I was over the age of 18. So still, if you want to live back in Cyprus, I think you have to do a certain amount of months. Yeah, service.
But as far as I knew, as if you've been away from the age of 15, even if you're born and grew up here, you've been away from the age of 15, because I have friends who went to boarding schools specifically for that, and they were exempt.
For me, I don't know if maybe my dad threw me in there without me knowing.
Yeah, maybe there was. You're going to go back and look up the law and be like, just a minute.
You need to do some army and sort yourself out. Yeah, because the truth is I started university in Australia. I started horticulture because I had no idea what I wanted to do. And then I quit a few months later.
Horticulture?
Agriculture, the study of, because biology was one of my favorite subjects.
Okay, so what did you study, like the development?
Well, I only did it for a couple of months, Farah, to be honest. It was agriculture, there was marketing in it, which I loved.
Yeah.
There was chemistry in it, which I hated. There was management, which I loved the idea of that as well. But I moved into the hospitality industry at the age of 14 and a half, the legal age of being able to work in Australia. I started working in restaurants. And I felt at home, serving people, being around people, different people every day.
And no day's ever the same.
Exactly. You're not stuck in a cubicle. I'm not good in one place. So then when I came back and did the army, I thought, okay, what's bigger and more challenging than a restaurant? Hotels. And that's when I decided to study hospitality management.
Where did you study that?
I did that in Nicosia for a couple of years diploma, and then finished the University of Plymouth. But it wasn't actually in Plymouth. It was in Newton Abbot, a small town close to Torquay.
Okay,
so,
wow.
Yeah, finished that. And then I had one of the most inspirational people I'd ever met, a gentleman who then, his name is Chris Dunn. He was the director of talent of Marriott hotels. He's now doing his own business decades later of being with Marriott. But he came on a rainy day and he kind of presented the graduate program with so much passion and fire. And he was one of the first people that I thought, wow, this guy loves what he does. I want to follow that. And he presented the graduate program. There was 2,000 applicants, a very kind of interviewing process, one-on-one with him, and then an 8-hour interview with many other graduates and kind of directors and general managers watching you in different exercises. And I got into the graduate program. So for about 4 years, I was with Marriott in the UK, progressed in my career, 4 promotions, 4 years, just dedicated my life to. Oh, it was incredible. I worked in Wales, Scotland, London. And then I worked for the De Vere Group in the UK for another year. Then came to the Intercontinental in Cyprus for another year, almost year and a half at the Aphrodite Hills. And then
Well, that's when we met.
Exactly, yeah.
And travelled, my goodness. Were you only there for a year and a half?
Yeah.
And we travelled so much.
We did.
I mean, I think we must have been to like 10 different countries at least.
I think, a week. Basically, my boss said, you've got this budget. I don't want you in the office.
You were doing groups then, weren't you? Group marketing.
Yeah,
I remember correctly. But it's like 20 years ago.
It is. Yeah. It is. Unbelievable. And then since then has been on the entrepreneur road, different ventures here and there.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. So, okay, tell us a bit more about where the travel bug came from, because it's different for everyone. I mean, okay, until 7. So basically, pretty much the whole time you were developing your subconscious, you were quite grounded, I imagine, with a traditional nuclear family. You've got your lovely sister as well. So hopefully having a lovely home life. And then suddenly you went on a plane.
Yes.
Is that where it then all sparked from, or was it seeing different things, or was it working in restaurants? What was it?
Imagine the first plane ride was moving out of a country. So at the age of 7, we're moving from Cyprus to Australia. We go from Cyprus to Athens. And I'll never forget, it was New Year's Eve and we're driving through Athens, and I'm 7 years old, so there's not too many memories left from that. But I remember the Parthenon being lit up with different colors and changing colors, and it was just, wow, it was majestic, and seeing that, just the hairs are standing on the back of my neck right now. It was.
You remember that so well.
I remember that. And then we went from there, we flew to Athens, to Singapore. We went to Melbourne. And then I just remember being on a plane, being that high up, 10 kilometers in the air, and just going, wow. So I think subconsciously it was planted then.
Yeah.
But then growing up in Perth, it was isolated, so it never traveled to the age of 18, 19. When I flew back, and we came back at the age of 12 for a trip, and then 15 again. So every time I just get on a plane, being at airports, seeing all these emotions, people jumping and hugging and saying hello, people greeting goodbyes. I'm like, it's just exciting. It's exciting. And so the travel bug, I think, got instilled then. And then when I worked in hotels, the main reason was to travel. But then I realized I'm not traveling. I'm living for a year and a half in Wales, a year and a half in Scotland. And it was amazing because I'm experiencing new places, but the travel really became at Aphrodite Hills, where it flew off, where a week to 2 weeks, a month, I had to be somewhere, sharing the story, presenting. And then after leaving the hotel industry and heading deeper into the travel industry, because I expanded a travel company for about 10 years, that's where I didn't stop traveling. I think my record in 1 year was 75, 80 flights in a single year. So I've traveled to over 50 countries, and I've learned that, I remember it was a photographer that said it. He said, every time I travel, I come back a different person, because you bring back a learning, an inspiration, a new food, a new recipe, a new experience. So it's been incredible. Yeah.
So tell us a bit about, it was World Ventures that you left the hotel, but it continued with your love for travel and the tourism industry. So tell us a bit about that, because, you were doing that for 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
So you traveled a lot, and World Ventures, it's closed down now, hasn't it?
Yeah, look, COVID, when you're selling a travel membership and the airports are shut down, it was a bit of a tough time to be doing it. But the company was around for 15 years. I saw it when it was only in the US. So me and my sister brought it to Cyprus, and then we expanded it into Greece, and then through our team went to Romania, Australia, many countries. It was the first travel network marketing company that worked. It came basically to say, you know what, there's not going to be any middlemen. We're going to do group travel. We're going to do amazing experiences. And we're going to give the cost price to our members, and sometimes even below cost. And we'll make, a bit of money from a membership fee, which is like 30, 35 euros a month. So I really started expanding that. But in the beginning, I realized it was Americans who had no idea what Europeans wanted. So my role was unique because I actually started consulting for the company and built their travel product for Europe. And then doing that consulting for quite a few years, in 2018, I headed up as the director of Europe, Middle East, Africa, and kind of expanded their Amsterdam headquarters, recruited the team, built the team there. And my team was doing over 1,000 groups with close to $20 million revenue in a year.
Wow.
So it was an amazing experience. I mean, I love the networking part, but I'm a travel guy,
What was your best trip?
Oh my God, there's so many.
I know, you just said now a million flights.
What's your favorite child?
Yeah.
Look, I think one of the most, we even did trips here. We worked with you guys at the St. Raphael.
Yes, you did. So, okay, apart from
St. Raphael.
Yeah, we did. I remember we did, the first group we did, I remember was end of August. It was like about 40 people. And then we did others, Yeah.
Look, one of the, I'd say my favorite one was Costa Navarino, West End property in Greece.
Yeah.
It was close to 1,000 people.
Wow.
They came from like close to 15 different countries. We did a hotel takeover. So it was in April 2016. And it was at the beginning of the season, so we could really take over the hotel. And it was just incredible. We did multiple excursions because you can't just take 1,000 people and
it's a beautiful area there.
It is.
I mean,
it is.
you're in the middle of nowhere, but it's stunning.
Yeah, amazing resorts, so many things to do, whether golf and the last biggest naval battle in Europe happened just off the coast there. So I think for many people, they will never forget that trip. We did quite a few large groups as well, but that was super memorable. Yeah.
Wow, that's so nice. So let's touch a bit on growing up with these cross-cultural influences, even though you were quite stable in your life, but still you were mainly in Australia.
Australia.
And but both your parents are Cypriot.
Yes.
So how did you find that? Because we always laugh about my big fat Greek wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, for so many of us growing up, just eating different food to our friends and it's fun. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but how did you find that? And then also to talk a little bit about you and your sister, because I know your lovely sister, Rosina, she's adorable. And I feel very blessed with my siblings and my brother, who I'm especially close to.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about both.
Absolutely. Well, I've got an older brother as well.
Okay. I did not know that.
But we're 5 years apart.
Okay.
So me and my sister were almost like twins. She's 3 years apart, but she's always been my first mentor in life, always been there for me and taught me many things. And she was my first sign up in World Adventures as well. So she trusted me, and that journey together, changed our lives. But growing up, I was a WOG in Australia, which is not a term used here, but
what's a WOG?
It's a Greek or an Italian, basically. It's almost a racist term today's.
Okay.
So you're a foreigner, not in a bad way, because from the age of 7, within a couple of years, I was talking like an Australian.
Yeah.
But you're living in a country and you're a foreigner. Even though for them, I'm like, hold on, you've only been here a couple of 100 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's a foreigner here.
Yeah. And when your grandparents convicts from England.
Exactly. But, adversity makes some people break and it builds others up. And it's funny because when I came back to Cyprus when I was 19, I was Australos.
I know.
I was the Aussie. It's like, so everywhere I've been a foreigner to the land. But you know what? Difficulty, I think, is one of the biggest things that helps people grow, and having those challenges, whether it's, people get bullied at school, people get bullied at work. And I think sometimes that, and I have no complaints because I had so many friends at school, and I was someone that didn't have one gang. I was friends with the best kids at school, friends with the worst kids at school. I was someone that can see the good in everybody and have fun with everybody at a certain level. So I had amazing memories growing up, but it sometimes was tough because I also changed schools a couple of times. Went there English second language school for a year, then went to a primary and a high school at the same area, then a private school the last 3 years of my life. So it was amazing having, that adversity, because I think it strengthens your character. How do you build muscle? You're at a gym and you have to tear muscle down first to rebuild it back up. So I think that allowed me to travel without fear, to move without fear. I remember I was working in Wales and the reception manager was going to move to a different place in the UK. And I said, Becky, isn't that exciting? She goes, George, you're the first person that said that. She goes, everyone else was like, aren't you scared? I'm like, and one of my mentors said the thinnest line in the world is between fear and excitement. I said, yeah, but it's exciting. New place, new friends, new people. You can always come back here. You can always travel back. So I've always, that kind of strengthened me to take risks, jump into the unknown, because I think all our dreams are outside our comfort zones. When it's comfortable and you're warm and you're cozy, you're not growing. So Frosini helped me with that, because she always moved with me. When I was in Glasgow, actually, we moved together and lived in London in 2006. We did that for a year and a half. And then we traveled a lot together with World Ventures as well. So it was, having someone like that who, she's a strong woman, she's a leader, it helps to pull you forward as well.
Yeah, it's so nice. I've often seen, and of course I've experienced it, but having very close siblings, and I've seen it with friends and my dad and so many others. And I sometimes say it's like having your soulmate as your sibling, because it doesn't have to be your soulmate. You can meet many of them.
Yes.
You can have best friends that are soulmates. You can have, of course, your partner who's your soulmate, and you can have people in your family who are. And it's just beautiful to see that. So, veganism. Let's go into my favourite subject. We'll probably need, what time is it? About 10 hours to talk about this now. So, how did you become a vegan? Why did you get into veganism and plant-based living? And then we'll go into why you were inspired to open a restaurant for it.
It's a unique journey, because I stopped drinking milk when I was in London, so 2006, and I started getting into health anyway. 10 years before I moved into veganism. And I cut out certain things, but the way it happened is very unique. I was living in Athens and moved there for World Ventures. And then we have some friends which became kumbari. You know her, Iliana Rufu.
Okay.
Iliana Ravi. So we were going to stay with them. And she's like, George, the only rule is, because she was a vegetarian at the time, I don't want any raw meat when I come back in the fridge. I'm like, what's up with this girl? Why?
Yeah. What's your problem?
Just a few months later, I posted a kangaroo steak on Facebook and a kangaroo teddy bear. I'm like, I'm about to eat his cousin,
Oh my goodness.
They come back a month later.
I actually didn't even know people eat kangaroos.
It's actually one of the healthiest meat, because it's 99% fat free.
Okay.
That's the
poor animal.
But yeah, it's an amazing animal. It's a beautiful animal. So now just the thought is unbelievable. But anyway, that's the person where I was, and that's how sometimes you grow and you look back and go, oh my God, worlds apart.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, why did she have this thing? They come back a month later. We actually lived with them for a few months. And one night it was a communal friend's birthday. She's like, oh, come to the party. Went to the house and the guys were vegan. I had no idea. And they had a buffet probably the size of this table, filled with food. We're talking meatballs and pasticcio and moussaka, spaghetti carbonara and these salads. And I was like, wow. And I ate like a pig. The taste was incredible. But the feeling afterwards was like, I feel so light. I don't feel heavy. I don't feel like I need to lie down. What's going on? And then the next morning I was like, that was amazing. The food was awesome. I'm actually quite inspired. And she goes, okay, have a look at this video. And she showed me, I can't remember his name. I always forget his name, Gary something. It's an Eastern European name. And he does like a university talk. And he talks about chicken, dairy, meat industry. And it just clicked. Like at that point I thought, this guy makes so much sense. Our teeth aren't made for meat. Our intestines aren't made for meat. If we look at most of the diseases, unfortunately, in the world today, heart disease, all of these.
Type 2 diabetes, strokes,
so much.
many cancers.
And, that's why I literally made the decision. It took a few months to really transition, but it clicked and I thought, I don't need this in my life. I wanna take it to another level. So that's how the journey began.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. And when was that?
2016.
2016. Amazing. So you became vegan and healthy vegan, plant-based, and you moved back to Cyprus. You got married. And how did you decide to open a vegan restaurant in Nicosia?
Yeah. God.
And if anyone's listening and they're unaware of Cypriot culture, we are quite a heavy meat-eating culture. I think a lot of people think, it's an island, they must eat a lot of fish there.
It's Mediterranean, salads and no.
We do have fish here, but we're not a big fishing island. So while there are fish mezzes, the majority of people are meat eaters.
Yeah.
And we have a very healthy diet,
Yes.
the Mediterranean diet, traditional. But people invariably say, we'll put a bit of tuna on the side, we'll put a bit of meat on the side. And so we're quite a meat-centric
we are,
place.
but they weren't like that.
They weren't.
Like
no,
I think 50 years ago, I look at my grandparents' diet. It was legumes, it was beans, it was nuts, it was shushuko made from grape juice.
Grapes,
it was he would they would slaughter a pig once a year, split it with 2-3 families. He would have like one piece of lunza once a week. They would eat meat at the weddings, and at special events and special occasions. So I think it's changed a lot. We became very Americanized the last 20, 30 years. Look, I mean, my wife Ariadne has been amazing on the journey because we decided together. The move happened 1 month before she fell pregnant with our son, our first son, Nicholas, our first child actually. So the journey together has been unbelievable. I forgot your question now though.
Yes, no, don't worry. So you became vegan, and then why did you decide to open a vegan restaurant in Nicosia?
Because there was just a lack of options. I was looking in Nicosia. We moved back, when was it? 2016. 2018, I moved to Amsterdam for my role until 2020. But I was 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or a week on, 3 weeks off. And there's no options. We're tired of traveling to places and not finding options. There was, I think, one kind of home-cooked place in Nicosia for quite a few years. And literally I just thought, let's open a takeaway. Let's open 30, 40 square meters takeaway. It was always a dream to open a restaurant. But, as you know, Farah, the hospitality industry is tough. It's very tough.
People don't realise. And it makes me laugh because they all come with opinions because everybody's a client.
Yeah.
Everybody's a client of a restaurant. Everybody's a client of a hotel. So everyone has an opinion.
Yes.
Rightly so, of what they like, but also what they think should happen. And you should just get a hostess. You should just get 5 more waiters to be here in peak time. You should just serve 10 more items on. And they have no idea of the actual logistics and operation behind it.
And even the profit margins.
Oh, it's
like
tiny.
Before I moved into the travel industry, I remember looking at the numbers. St. Pierre Marriott Country Club. It's got 2 championship golf courses. Amazing property, 16th century manor house, 1,000-year-old church next to it. And I remember looking at the numbers. He was doing about 15 million in revenue. I looked at the profit. It took him like 1.2 million. I'm like, hold on a second. It's about 8%.
And that's only if you pass your break even.
Yeah, of course.
Because, once in the break even, I mean, I say that's quite obvious, but the break even is very high in hotels.
Yeah.
So in other businesses, it's lower. And maybe variable costs are more, but the variable costs aren't so high in hotels, but the break even is unbelievable.
Yes, it is.
So you've got to get it's like 80% there, and then you make this tiny bit. Yeah. It's crazy.
So it's very tough work. So I thought of opening a takeaway at first and just doing like 40 square meters and doing burgers, but the difference, we've named it more of a health food restaurant because as you know, vegan in Cyprus is still very early. Our culture is very meat eaters. I mean, I think if Seychelles was in London or Paris or Berlin, there'd be lines out the door.
We'd be raking in,
Same with Elysian, So I thought, okay, I'll start with a takeaway. On the second day, I sat outside. The place next door was for rent as well. And I thought, if I'm going to do the first vegan restaurant in Nicosia, I might as well go all in. So made that decision on the second day of opening. But we focused on being a health food restaurant as well. So we make our own burgers, we make our own sauces. There's no white flour, there's no white sugar. That's how we began. Many ingredients are organic. Recently we said, okay, we're going to break the rules a bit. We're going to put some bao buns, but we're going to let people know this has white flour, for example.
Oh my goodness, really similar to our journey here at Seashells.
Yeah.
Like I also started off still no processed sugar. Flour we had, but we've also got the bao buns.
Yeah.
Because you've got to have something that people...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we just launched recently a dinner menu because we evolved. We put brunch in there after a few months, but we had some amazing clients. As you know, they come in, they hear good things and they want to try. You know, I had these like 7-year-old couples coming in nicely dressed for a date night, and I'm serving a menu like, so we've got burgers and gyros and wraps and Jackson, you know?
Yeah.
So now with our dinner menu, we've pushed to evolve, launching last month, where we've got some spaghettis or bao buns or, baked pasta in the oven and more main dishes as well. So it's been an amazing journey, very, very tough.
What's your best or maybe bestseller or your surprising, something that you've got on that you're surprised?
Yeah.
I know that sounds awful, but I think as all restaurateurs, for me, definitely, I put stuff on menus sometimes. I'm like, I don't know if that will sell.
Yeah.
And then something else, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is going to go like hotcakes. And then that doesn't do so well. And then the other thing, I'm like, really? And it just flies.
Yeah. Look, I think our signature burger
you told me
is
before.
the best seller, and we've tried to make a beefy patty, but it's beetroot and portobello mushrooms, walnuts, organic oats, organic brown rice. So you're eating something
filling.
healthy. Our saganak is amazing. We make our own feta from almonds and organic olive oil and a bit of lemon juice and oregano we put in there, or mint. And then we fry that with some organic agave on top. And now the bao buns are a bestseller. We only started that last month, but people love it.
Yeah.
So and our pancakes, because they're no flour, they're 100% organic oat flour. So you're eating something that's super healthy, super clean. Chocolate sauce we make ourselves with organic chocolate, sugar-free. So our pancakes, those 3 items and 4 items, I think are our best seller. Beside the fried potatoes, I didn't want to put them.
Yeah, what
but
can
people,
you do?
Yeah, people ask for them, and
we have them as well. And we've got the sweet potato fries. But they do sell. But now, everybody wants a few fries. What to do? I love fries as well. I'll be like, I have my salad, but I want some fries.
Yes.
Yeah, we all need a treat. So I had to ask this. What vegan question do you get asked the most from non-vegans?
How can you survive without meat?
Yeah.
Right?
Where do you get your protein from?
Oh my God. Yeah. I think that one's there. And it's like, or when some people go, well, why do you eat things like related to meat?
Yeah, that tastes like meat.
Yeah.
If you're vegan.
And you're like, well, I went plant-based for the health and for the animals and for the planet, because one thing we do at Elysian as well, we have no plastic.
Yeah.
We don't serve any plastic. There's no plastic outgoing. So we wanted to make a concept about the health of people, the animals, and the planet.
And just to be sustainable in every way.
When people ask that, it's just like, look, I have things that taste like our chicken gyro. I've given it to people that know we're a vegan restaurant and they don't realize,
Yeah.
There's things now without the process, because
we have hot dogs and people are like, are you sure these are
exactly
meat?
And I know you've got the moving mountains on, which is good quality, etc., because there are some alternatives with a lot of processed stuff in there, and I think something I don't agree with.
It's still kind. It's still better to have that, and it's kinder for animals, and it's definitely better for the planet. But for your body, it's better to be plant-based, literally, not vegan junk food.
Exactly, Farah. I said to people, look, there has to be a balance of your inner and your outer world. Like, I don't think you should love the animals more than your own body. You live here as well, right? So, it's all right to have some junk once in a while, but have balance. So it's a love inner and outer as well. So, and I think one thing that I don't agree with the direction they're going to start pushing lab meats now. that is healthier for the environment, etc.
I know that, so the studies that I've seen and read, lab meats, they're still healthier than regular meat.
Right.
So they're kind of on, so vegan processed food or meat is like an amber food, and it's on the same par as, let's say, lean meat.
Right.
So I think for
absolutely.
your body,
Compared
then,
to
and then of course you're not killing an animal, because I don't think that's our right to take a life, whatever species it is. And then at least some people will have the taste, they'll have the texture, they'll have the feeling, and it's definitely more sustainable because, I mean, you know, in China they've opened the first multi-story pork factory where they've just got, I don't know how many floors, like tens and tens and tens of floors of animals in these small cages, and so that it's not sustainable. We don't have enough land anyway. Even if everybody said animals feel no pain and we can kill them, there's not enough land to do it.
Yeah.
So I think there is a market for the lab-grown meat. Now, whether that's
there will
ideal,
be a market.
I'm also not going to line up. I actually don't even like the taste of meat because it's been so many years I haven't had it.
Yeah.
But I think someone like my brother who adores it, I'd rather he has that than an actual cow.
Look, I haven't looked into the deep research. I'm like you. The closer we are to a whole food plant-based diet,
that's
the
how
cleaner,
our bodies are supposed to be.
If it's not in the packet, you know, and that's why we avoid.
So I say if there's no label,
exactly.
That's what we're supposed
if you
to
get it, you can make it. You can do whatever you want. It's whole food, you know. And I've got someone very dear to me right now. My mother going through some serious health issues. And it's not just our diet that creates health, but also our own mental state, right?
And
our
emotional.
emotions. But I think that's the cleanest way to eat, you know. And I've been to America 15 times, and you look at the way they eat. Like some of them don't even have a kitchen. I went to an Aussie friend's house a couple of months ago. I was there for 10 days just for a visit. And I'm like, can I cook you something? He's like, I don't know if the stove works. I haven't used it in like 5 years. Dude, what are you eating every day? So, I'm all about clean living as much as you can.
If you eat a Western diet, you're going to get a Western disease.
Yes.
So they say a standard American diet equals a standard American disease.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So interesting. So going back to hotels, well, I've said already, but maybe your best memories from hotels, not from World Ventures, but maybe your days at Interconti.
Best memories. I mean, I'll share a couple. I'll share some of one of the most craziest stories, but I was at the Glasgow Marriott. I was restaurant room service manager. We're talking 300 bedroom hotel, 600 guests. And I was duty manager. I was late early. So I was going to finish at, 11 p.m. You never finish at 11 p.m. Sleep in the hotel because I was going to be working 7 a.m. and I was overnight in case of emergency. And I'll never forget, I literally laid down my head on the pillow in the hotel at 12:30 and at midnight. And at 12:40, the fire alarm's going off. I open my eyes and I'm like, okay, I'm waiting 10 seconds in case it goes, hoping that it turns back off. It's not going back off. Okay, I run downstairs. It's still going on. What's happening? This room. What happened? There was a Portuguese football team playing poker, smoking cigarettes, and he started. The
actual sprinklers went off.
Well, the fire alarm started flashing and going off. So in order to blow some smoke, the guy grabs a towel, starts waving it up to the ceiling, breaks the sprinkler. So we're talking. It was the 8th floor, and I can't remember how many liters. It was like 200 liters. A minute or something crazy that's pumped out of these sprinklers.
Into a bedroom.
Into a bedroom. It flooded the whole of the 8th floor because we evacuated everybody outside at like 1 a.m. in Glasgow in winter. People were in the freezing cold. They were trying to call the fire brigade. For some reason, it wasn't connecting. So it was half an hour by the time they came.
That's frightening. If there was a real fire, that's appalling.
Yeah, exactly. And we're talking thousands of liters of water that came the 8th floor, and then it found its way through the hotel it didn't flood, thank God, every floor, but it worked down into my kitchen, into my restaurant. The kitchen was raining. I've never seen anything like that in my life. It was literally about 20 centimeters of water on the 8th floor in the corridor. The guy paid for the damages.
Wow.
Of course, it was like 10,000 euros of damages.
I would have thought even more.
Yeah, thankfully it wasn't more. It was around 10,000 because the carpets could be steam cleaned. It was damage in the room.
Yeah.
It was whatever. So thankfully he got away with a bit less. But that was one of the most craziest stories in hotels.
Yeah, because I guess insurance wouldn't cover that.
Exactly. And happiest memories, God, I think at Aphrodite Hills, I had a ball. I think traveling with you in Paris.
Paris, I always remember
it's got a record. I think it was in Frankfurt was the last time where we had the most expensive meal at a restaurant I had with
insane.
Claire and with Fortini. She's still living
Stephanie, and the guy was doing this, and we were like, Dissimeni, like, what's he talking about? And then, but they ripped us off.
They did. It wasn't
because we were saying
that.
like the amount. I think we were in a sushi restaurant, and we were ordering pieces, but he brought us platters.
Yeah.
So like, we'll have 8 pieces of that sushi, and then he brought 8 portions of 6 or whatever.
But it was an amazing restaurant.
And then it was good food,
like
the
design, the surroundings were amazing. Yeah, but my manager, I think it was Spiros Michailidis.
Oh yes,
was
Spiros was there.
What's this one?
Yeah.
Whatever they were like, well, we were with Claire and
everyone,
and Farah, and
everyone can vouch for what happened. Go check the other hotels. Everyone has the same expense. Yeah.
But it was so many amazing times, so many travels, so many experiences.
Yeah, good times. This industry, definitely.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite quote? My favorite question I ask everyone.
It's from my favorite book, from the Bible. And it's something that I've lived my life by. And I remember reading it for the first time. I was 19 in the army. That's when I really first picked up a Bible and started going through and got so much truth and inspiration and so many answers from it. And it's ask and you shall receive, knock and the door shall be opened, seek and you shall find. And I'm a big believer in that, because many people in this life, they play the victim mindset, and they say, poor me, and this happened to me, and this, but at the end of the day, we create our own reality. We have that free will, and if we seek, if we knock, and if we ask, it'll be given to us. The answers will be there, the right people will come, the right events will take place, and we can really live a blessed life, here. And that's what's important, right? To enjoy every moment and to see the blessings every single day.
Absolutely. Gratitude.
Amen.
Yeah, we spoke about that a lot with Thalis Panaidis.
Yeah.
You've got to watch that episode. It's coming out soon. So, bonus question.
All righty.
So, pick anything you want from here. I'll read it to you. Let's see if this is a juicy question or something easy. What is one thing you would like to say to a grandparent who is no longer here with you?
Oh, wow.
I like some of these questions that are coming up lately.
So I would say to...
And which grandparent you have to specify.
Look, I think I want to say to my dad's dad, who I've got his name, George Adamides, and he was... I think that's where my entrepreneur bug comes from. I didn't realize it too many years later. I wish I experienced him, because he had a stroke when I was younger, so he couldn't communicate too much when I grew up. Okay. But he was one of the biggest entrepreneurs in the area of Cyprus. He traveled to every different area to bring the best legumes and beans and this and that. And he had a store at the fork of Astromeritis, where the road that goes to the mountains, to Morphu, and to Nicosia. So that's where his house was. He did the first petrol station there as well. So he's a very big businessman. So what would I say to him? What's your question? I'd say thank you and teach me more, because I didn't have enough time with you.
Oh, it makes me quite emotional. I'm sure he will teach you more, because I believe everyone up there guides us. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Agree.
Bless him. Bless you. Thank you so much
Bless
for everything.
You too,
Thank
Farah.
you so much for sharing all of this juicy and fun information with us. And yeah, we spoke about, well, my two favorite subjects, tourism and veganism.
Yes,
so this was a great
me too.
episode. So thank you so much. Wishing you all the best.
Thank
And
you
I'm
too,
coming to
Farah.
Elysium soon.
Please do. Have an awesome one.
Thanks. We hope that you're enjoying Hotel Talk. And I'd like to remind you guys, please, to click that subscribe button. It helps us more than you may realize. And any likes or comments that you can give us on any platform would be highly appreciated because it helps us get heard and more exposure. Don't forget to hop along to St. Raphael Resorts and Marinas website. Join us on our journey with our Seahorse Club, where you can get exclusive offers and so much more. Or you can email our team directly, quoting Hotel Talk, to receive an exclusive discount on your next stay with us in Limassol, Cyprus. We'll see you all soon, and feedback is more than welcome. Thank you for being part of this journey.